I'm about 10 hours into Palworld and it has been full of ups and downs. A couple of the positives, the game looks amazing. I get a lot of like Zelda type feels from it, a little bit of Ark, a little bit of Pokemon, and that's kind of how I would describe it. Ark, but with Pokemon. The crafting menu is really impressive. It feels very reminiscent of Ark. There's a ton of things in here, from gathering materials to weapons. There's things called Pal Spheres, which are basically Pokeballs. There's all kinds of wooden structures, and you'll get to do all kinds of building stuff very similar to Ark or to Rust, which is a big pull for me. And I think it's going to be a big pull for everyone else's too. Really enjoyable so far. The PAL battling is one of the most fun parts of the game, although the AI struggles a bit, as you can see here. They get caught on things like trees or like differences in incline, block of a lot of abilities. You're going to run into that quite a bit, but honestly, extremely enjoyable. The building is very open and customizable. You can see here messing around with a little bit of a double decker, got some staircases going up to a secondary floor. You can be really creative with this, which I really like. Some downsides, I noticed that doing multi-storied things like this, for some reason the ground underneath wouldn't let you place benches. Couple kinks to work out, but overall, big fan. As you progress through the game, you'll start to unlock saddles and different things of that nature that basically enable your pal's abilities. You can see here that this pal has an ability for you to create a saddle and be able to mount it. There's more than one pal that does things like this with varying speeds and abilities. This is actually pretty interesting. It gets you across the map very, very quickly. Here's another example of a different pal's ability, basically a flamethrower, which is pretty wild. When I first came to the game, I really thought that the gun style was going to be a big turnoff for me. I've always been a big Pokemon fan, always been a big survival crafting type fan. And then when I heard about the guns, I was kind of like, man, this is like almost perfect. But so far, things like the flamethrowers, the guns have been very limited with long cooldowns. So not that big of a deal in my opinion. The game also has an abundance of dungeons throughout the map, which was a really cool surprise. Hopping into these, there's all kinds of new pals inside, as well as like humanoids that drop special items. At the end, spoiler alert, there is a boss type pal. Generally, it's kind of just like a bigger, stronger version of the pals that are out in the world from what I've seen so far. So it's well worth going into these. Rare materials all over the place, good items, definitely something you want to check out. Okay, now let's jump into some of the downsides. The game's got a lot of bugs, and it is early access, so, kind of take that as you will. But a lot of games sit in early access for years, and there's a $30 price tag on this, so I think it's important to call out. Hitting this mine, I fell through the floor. I'm not really sure what caused it. The game then crashed, and I'm not sure how this all happened, but for some reason, the game kind of just deteriorated from here. As I log back in, you'll see a strange little bug that I was not expecting. For some reason, my character cloned itself. And from here, things just got worse. Here we are in a big boss battle. This is like the first trainer battle. It was extremely difficult. There was 3 of us, and we were still going down pretty fast. After this battle, something weird happened with stamina. You can see I jump off this tower here. For some reason, my stamina bar is gone. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, oh, this is cool. When you're jumping off a tower, you don't have to suffer from stamina. But all of a sudden, my character falls. Now I'm stuck in the middle of a river with no stamina, so I slowly drown. Little bugs like this were popping up all over the place. It was buggier than I expected, which was a little disappointing, especially after all of the positive experiences up to this point. It had been just so beautiful, and then this stuff started happening. This was one of my first experiences with one of the guns in the game. You basically teach this pal to enable an SMG, and you can see immediately just yanked up towards the skybox. I released the combination of me and my pal here, and we kind of just fall, luckily, into this pool of water below us, which stops me from dying. But as you can see, at this point, I'm starting to get scared of using the basic PAL interactions in the game, especially because the deaths cause you to drop not only all your items, but also all of your PALs. And then sadly, at the very end of the night, we're about 10 hours in here, you can see that my character starved while I was sitting here in the food menu, not paying attention. My health went all the way to 0, which normally it stops at 1, which I thought was a little weird. I fed myself back up to full hunger. I wasn't regaining health. I thought, okay, maybe the other people in the game have to come res me, so I waited for a while for a friend to come over and pick me up. That didn't save me. I crawled up, tried to get into the bed. I thought maybe sleeping might help recover my character. Weirdly enough, it brought my HP up to 1, which I thought was interesting, but I was trapped like this. I could not exit the game. I could not hit escape to get to the menu. It was like the game was confused between the state I was in. It thought I was standing up. I was able to basically slug around at sprint speeds. I was invincible during this, so tried fighting some pals. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But basically just hard locked like this after about 10 hours of gameplay. At this point, I decided to call it just Alt F4 out of this and reload back in since I couldn't find a solution, and sadly, I was met with this menu. So for some reason, the combination of bugs, I don't know if it was the duplicate characters or what we ran into, but all 3 of our character save files were bricked. They were completely erased. So 10 hours down the drain, our characters were all gone. For some reason, the world had saved all of our building progress and our PAL progress, but our character save files were eradicated. So overall, I give the game about an 8.5 out of 10. I know it's early access, but games sit in early access for years at this point, and especially when there's a price tag on it, I think that the core foundation of the game and the day one opinions that people form are really important. The game's got tremendous potential. The graphics are beautiful. The battles are really fun. The interactions with all the pals are super interesting. There's a passive trait system that I didn't even mention. Basically, every pal is slightly different in some way. Bunch of features I haven't even got to yet. But overall, I think the game's very, very much worth it. They need to spend some more time ironing these bugs out, but there's huge potential here, and I think it's worth the purchase. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I stream every day on Twitch from 12 p.m. PST. Swing on by, and I will see you all out there collecting pals.